Hey troops, what's going on? Welcome back to the channel. So today we're going to be talking about Ukraine. There's been a major attack on a Russian airbase. So let's just get into that, guys. We've got a bit of footage for you as well, part way through the video, so stay tuned for that. So according to the Ukrainian Air Force, 9 Russian warplanes were destroyed in a massive explosion at an airbase in Crimea, which Moscow seized in 2014. And in addition, shelling around a Ukrainian nuclear power plant prompted the United Nations Security Council to convene in an emergency meeting today. So you know shit's got real when the UNSC gets involved, guys. Okay, it's going down. Now, the Security Council will address the shelling near the nuclear power plant where the bombings occurred. Ukraine and Russia have accused each other of shelling the power station. Of course, you know they're going to be back and forth with each other. That's something that we both could have predicted. Okay, it's a given, really. And Europe's largest nuclear power plant and officials are concerned about a potential nuclear disaster. We can see how the whole nuclear rhetoric is yet again flying around. I've mentioned this before on the channel that it's something that they've got people with. They can scare people with the nuclear word. The N word is a new word now. Okay, the nuclear rhetoric is again all over the news, and it's a question of whether you buy it or not. Yes, we have to be worried. There's been bombings going off in Crimea and stuff, and the location to where it's at, but it's something that everyone is going to be worried about now, just because of the nuclear terminology being used. And the United Nations Nuclear Energy Watchdog has actually issued a warning, and a group of several leading industrialized countries told Russia on Wednesday to hand over the plant to Ukraine. So it actually looks more like the people are putting more pressure to get Russia to comply, is what I personally think. Okay, I think it's just another situation where they're backing Russia into a corner. It's not a sanction as such, but big players in big groups are saying, hey, hand over the power plant. We want it, okay? And I think they'll probably get it. I don't personally think that Russia will end up bowing down to these demands, though. I just don't think it's in their nature as a country, as a people. Throughout history, they've never really bowed down, so I don't see them doing it now. Okay, Moscow has made no implications of complying with that request, and Ukraine did not publicly claim responsibility for the explosions at the Saki air base in Crimea, despite mocking Russia's denial of an attack. So they've denied it. They've also mocked Russia's denial of attack. It's back and forth now. It's like, you bullied me, I didn't bully you type situation. It's schoolyard type stuff. And according to Moscow, munitions caught fire and exploded, killing 1 and injured at least 13 others. It denied that aircraft had been damaged, but satellite images show at least 7 fighter jets blown up and severely damaged. So the thing that gets me is, why admit the munitions caught fire? This isn't something that just happens, okay? It's something that is clearly planned and coordinated. Moscow knew that the munitions caught fire, but how did they catch fire? Of course they caught bloody fire. You know, the whole damn airfield's being blown up. So if you know it caught fire and you deny it, I don't know, it just seems a bit sketchy to me. This isn't something that just happens, like I said. There needs to be a catalyst, in my personal opinion, and the catalyst was obviously the bombings. Now, Ukraine has been a little naive to think that this will excuse them from blame as well, okay? No one knows what the crack is yet. The New York Times and the Washington Post cited unnamed Ukrainian officials say that Kiev's forces were responsible for the attack on Crimea base, but provided no further details. So we're at a loose end again with information. It's out there. You can tell which way the narrative wants to go. They want to point the finger at Moscow and keep Ukraine out of the blame. All right, and I think that's the way it's going to go. And according to the Times report, the source would not say what type of weapon caused the explosion, but did say a device exclusively of Ukrainian manufacture was used. So that's pretty interesting, okay? If a device specifically manufactured in Ukraine was used, we've got one or two situations here. Now, either Ukraine was the perpetrators, Or we're looking at, people getting behind enemy lines, getting hold of these munitions and using it to kind of spark a little bit of rhetoric back and forth and blame. Okay, it's these types of thing happens all the times in proxy wars. You're getting special forces in behind enemy lines, causing havoc, pretending to be other groups of people to make other groups think that it was a different group doing it. So it's very smart tactics used by militaries all over the world. Okay. And according to a Ukrainian presidential advisor, the blasts were either caused by a Ukrainian-made long-range weapon or were the work of guerrilla soldiers operating in Crimea. So that's something we've just highlighted, okay? Guerrilla soldiers. Now, they can't say special forces. They can't say specialist operators. They're using terminology like guerrilla soldiers, guerrilla operators, okay? People who aren't accountable for their actions. It's rather it's rather fitting for the type of situation we're in, okay? Now, the site, which is at least 200 kilometers from the nearest Ukrainian position, is out of range of the missiles supplied by the US to Kyiv. That keeps United States hands free from blood, okay? So they're not going to get caught red-handed, even if it was them, because they have, they've denied it and they said that, well, hey, our missiles that were supplied to you can't go that far. So it gets them out of the picture straight away. Over to the left, you're on the flank. Yeah, I'll make of that as you wish. Now, the attack inside Crimea would significantly escalate hostilities in Russia's 6-month offensive against the former Soviet Republic. Moscow has launched attacks on southern Ukraine from the Saki air base. In a video address delivered Tuesday night, Zelensky actually stated this Russian war against Ukraine and all of the free Europe began with Crimea and must end with Crimea. Its liberation. So that's both terrifying and promising at the same time. So he understands that Crimea is probably the literal way out of this, but at the same time, it's not good because that's going to be something that's going to take a long time. We're not just talking a couple of months here to liberate Crimea. I think this is going to be a 10-year war if Crimea is the real geographical location that they want to fulfill and liberate. I think this is going to go on a long, long time. What do you guys think? Now, Russian authorities attempted to downplay the airbase explosions on Wednesday, claiming that they had not affected hotels or beaches on the peninsula, a popular summertime tourist destination for many Russians. However, and social media comes through it again, the images that were showed there showed people fleeing to safety on nearby beaches as plumes of smoke towered overhead. And, this is something that dozens of apartment buildings had been damaged in the process of, and that approximately 250 residents being relocated to temporary housing witnessed, and it's one of those things, I think it's terrible. And guys, you know how I feel about this whole thing. I just hate normal people being involved in this, okay? Now, the point is, if Ukrainian forces were behind the explosions, it would be the first known significant attack on a Russian military site in Crimea. Do I think it's about time that Ukraine stepped up and started doing more things like this to be able to push the fight towards Russia? Well, if we want to talk about fairness, that's probably the way it needs to go, right? They need to start upping their ante a bit. Last month, Ukrainian saboteurs carried out a minor drone attack on Russia's Black Sea Fleet headquarters in the Crimea port of Sevastopol. Meanwhile, Russia shelled Ukraine's central region, killing 13 people and unfortunately injuring 11, according to the region's governor. Now, the governor said Russian forces fired on Marganets in a nearby village, causing damage to dozens of residential buildings, 2 schools and several administrative buildings. Again, innocent people everywhere involved in this whole situation. Those deaths might seem low in number and stature, but trust me, it won't feel low to the people who's witnessed it and to the families of those loved ones, okay? And he described the night as terrible. Yeah, it would be terrible. It's difficult to recover bodies, he said, under the rubble. We're up against a cruel enemy who terrorizes our cities and villages daily. And, I think we'll look at the video that I wanted to show you now. It's basically the airbase. Let's just get into it. I'll let you make your mind up.
Possible new front in the war in Ukraine. Explosions rocked a major Russian airbase in Crimea, which is legally part of Ukraine, but Russia considers it to be part of its territory. Britt Clinett is in Ukraine with more.
Yeah, Crimea. This has been something that's been going on years, and it probably is going to go on for years to come, guys.
This morning, a brazen attack on a Russian airbase in Crimea. These verified videos circulating online shows two massive explosions. And beachgoers running for cover as a cloud of smoke pours into the sky in the distance.
Right, so we could see there, all right, straight away, there's loads of people on a beach enjoying their freedom. But, you know, as sad as it sounds, those people now will understand exactly what the Ukrainians have been going through. Crimea is just going to be a bit of a focal point now. I think Ukraine is taking the fight back to them.
This video, also circulating online and verified by ABC News, shows the aftermath of the blasts. Russia claims the explosions were munitions that blew up at the base. But a source confirming to ABC News that Ukraine was responsible for the strike, the first time Ukraine has attacked the territory since the invasion began.
Surely it's a shock to Putin and an embarrassment to Putin and the Russian military that the
Yes, US Marine Corps retired Colonel Stephen Ganyard. Let's go.
Ukrainians were able to strike so deep into the Russian rear areas to take out these airplanes and all of the ammunition that we saw go up in these massive explosions.
Russia has warned any attack on Crimea would be a major escalation in the war, and Ukraine would face serious consequences.
Yeah, it's probably the biggest escalation that Ukraine could have done so far. Maybe it's something that needs to be done, you know, putting more pressure on this place. Yes, the innocent people there, they're in my thoughts every day, but what's going on in Ukraine is terrible. So maybe they're just thinking, let's fight fire with a bit of fire. And, you know, they're doing that right now.
And George, on top of this, fears of a nuclear catastrophe over fighting at the Zaporizhzhia plant. I'm in Chernobyl, the site of the world's worst nuclear disaster. It's deserted, it's eerie, and it's a reminder of what can happen when things go wrong. George.
Britt, thanks very much.
Yes, indeed it is. A great insight into things that can go wrong. I think that's a good note to end it on, guys. What do you think's going to happen? Do you think Ukraine's right for, well, we're surmising that this time no one's took any official kind of yes or no stance on this. But if it was Ukraine who was responsible for those bombings, I mean, who else would it be? What do you think? Do you think it's the right thing? Do you think they've made the best move there? Or do you think they've made a drastic mistake, and will this make Russia waking the sleeping giant, so to speak? Do you think that's going to happen? I think it's possibly a route that Ukraine probably needs to go down if they want to win this war, but it's definitely going to make this war long and drawn out, that's for sure. But guys, if you've made it this far, I just want to say thank you very much for supporting the channel. If you can do anything today, please consider sharing this content far and wide. I've noticed a massive drop in views of recent. I'm not sure why. I do put a lot of effort into these videos, and it's quite disheartening. I'll be honest with you, because this is my full-time business. This is what I love. This is my passion, and I don't want to give it up for anything. But you know, it's at this moment in time, over the past month, it just hasn't been cutting the mustard for paying bills and stuff. And I'm not going to get into that on this video. But yeah, if you can share this video to help with the viewership, I would really appreciate it, guys. But thank you for so much for being here right now, whoever you are, wherever you are. I haven't even met most of you guys. 99.99% of you guys I do not know. But thanks. I appreciate you.